that your national dog?
Chinese virus.
We have it under control.
It started in a cauldron of hate.
Because you dominate.
Really are a threat to society.
Heated up when a president started killing his own people.
Virus death toll.
It's supposed to be our stockpile.
Maybe giving Americans a false sense of hope.
No, I don't think so.
Stoking the fire was Trump lackey, Oklahoma Senator Rockwell Jansen.
This is God's law.
But when a match gets lit at a political rally,
Everyone, Rockwell Jansen, folks.
a COVID-stricken Jansen sets off the powder keg.
What's the problem? You are alive.
And manages, with just 3 words, to make history and become the hero America desperately needs.
Let's go. That's enough.
Enough of you.
The story of a corrupt president and the accidental hero who answered a country's prayers and ended a reign of shame.
Juicy, you need to go fuck yourself.
I'm Sarah Moreland, and this is the premiere of Pod Dreams. This is the first of 2 episodes of Enough of You. Episode 1, U.S. of Decay.
At long last, have you left no sense of peace?
That's one small step for man.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Words can re-steer history.
I have a dream.
Their right pairing, arranged properly, at the exact right moment in time, have a power no army can match.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
This story is about 3 short words, barely a sentence really, that may have saved a democracy. Those simple words were, enough of you. Their very utterance seemed to free the stain of corruption and shame that had gripped and poisoned the United States like a sticky, filthy virus. Words that were enough to begin the end of a scourge on the nation, the beginning of the end of Donald Trump.
You're damn right, it's enough. Enough of you.
The year 2020. The nation had run dry of heroes. In just 4 years, nearly 250 years of the great experience known as the United States seemed to have been dismantled before our very eyes.
I will give you voter suppression. That's enough. You are a rude, terrible person. When you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Mr. President.
Donald Trump was a bald-faced liar who chided his enemies like a maladapted 8-year-old boy and inflicted pain on the poor and weak with reckless glee. He was what Harvard fellow and head of the Political Institute for the Return to Decency, Sam Margolis, calls
A piece of shit. It's a political term your listeners may be familiar with. What words describe someone so devoid of basic decency and humanity? How could anyone have been less suited for the job of President of the United States?
Populist nonsense is nothing new. There's a long tradition of people voting for buffoons and blowhards against their own interest in the name of the most dangerous word in any language, nationalism.
But Trump, he took it to a new level. He lied compulsively about anything, desecrated the Constitution, defied the Congress. The train, as they say, had run off the tracks.
Putin, Sessions, emoluments, Ukraine, Syria, Charleston, impeachment. With his own personal propaganda channel and a constant diarrhea explosion of tweets, nothing would get in the way of the horror show we witnessed in the late 2010s. Even after COVID, record unemployment, and widespread rioting, people still stuck by him.
The Democrats, they love that. The fake media, but no, not today.
That is until a fire and brimstone Republican,
Where are you? Come on up here.
pushes Trump off the ledge.
Done really an extraordinary job. We have it under control. The risk remains very low. It's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear. You know, you're talking.
It was spring of 2020. Americans were dying from COVID at a rate faster than in any other nation. Not only was Trump not managing the crisis, he was making it worse.
I feel good about it. That's all it is, just a feeling. I'm a smart guy.
It's supposed to be our stockpile. It's not supposed to be state stockpile.
The President of the United States was indirectly and directly killing Americans.
And you should say thank you very much for good judgment.
People weren't just suffering from COVID. They were also dying at the hands of cops. While a pandemic raged, fear, poverty, and anger sent people spilling into the streets, with the President of the United States egging on the violence. Behavior, progressive advocate Sam Margolis says, has a dangerous precedent.
Presidential behavior now consisted of tantrums and tweets, of easily proven lies, race baiting, all pages straight from the dictator playbook.
So with the left holding the democratic process hostage...
And that lie spread like wildfire. Such a disgusting, perpetual smear job.
I'm never going to agree with you. You drive me crazy.
It's a great day for him. It's a great day for everybody.
Fox News ran his rants as political gospel, and the mainstream media covered them with unjustified legitimacy.
There hasn't been a job like this. You look at China, you look at the way that's working out, you watch what happens, look at what's happening at the border.
No doubt about it.
There were plenty of Republican cronies happy to echo Trump's harmful ignorance, and few were more vocal than 5-term senator from Oklahoma, Rockwell Jansen.
The Senate will come to order. The clerk will read.
Jansen's story parallels the familiar patterns in the Republican Party. Several dubious draft deferments from Vietnam, a sudden reversal on his stance on abortion, and taking money from the gun lobby and anyone with deep enough pockets.
Without objection.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think everyone knows where I stand on this.
By the time Connie Portman began her path to becoming the most respected reporter for WAOK in Oklahoma City, any vestige of decency Jansen may have had was a thing of the past.
The authority to usurp the final word in the Holy Bible.
Rockwell's days of reaching across the aisle were long gone by the time I started camping out at the State House. People called him loquacious, and I just called him a pompous ass. Pearl-clutching, self-righteous blowhard.
When it comes to the sanctity of life, of marriage, this is settled law. Oh, this is God's law. It is unimpeachable. I'm not even sure why we're discussing this. But even the Supreme Court...
Oh, that was my favorite. When he weighed in on issues of morality and sexuality. The hypocrisy was impressive.
Jansen had a poorly kept secret. The silver-maned, smooth talker remained an eligible bachelor, which in knowing circles was synonymous with gay and closeted. He kept a tight grip on his personal life. He joined Trump, all in, to become his biggest lackey and defender on killing anything in the path of honest governance, be it healthcare, the environment, or, prophetically, reopening the country in the middle of a pandemic.
Now, we simply cannot go on like this. We are imprisoning our own people.
Oh, I was at that rally, yeah. Rockwell was there, shirt sleeves rolled up, no mask.
We need our precious economy open back up.
There's a killer virus in the air, and these people are high-fiving and shaking hands and just practically tongue-kissing each other.
Free Oklahoma! Free the United States of America!
Jansen's Free USA rallies always made national news. There was even talk of his replacing Mike Pence as a VP candidate in the nearing presidential election. All this made the unexpected turn of events all the more shocking. It was summer of 2020. The election was looming. In the fog of war, graft exploded. Protest and looting had become the norm. Convicted criminals were set free by an attorney general in the president's pocket. People were out of work, and worse, as Sam Margolis points out, still getting sick and dying from COVID-19 at an alarming rate.
Trump would repeatedly proclaim, "We're going to get America back to work," and inevitably people would go back out again and get sick again. And he kept sending them back into peril, like buffaloes stampeding over a cliff.
Even though his White House was largely responsible for the carnage to the nation, countless COVID deaths, and depression-level unemployment, Trump's re-election somehow remained a real possibility.
Nancy Pelosi, she is angry with the president. She wants to humiliate the president. Shame on her for doing this. America deserves better than this kind of politics.
But one loud voice was missing in the hate machine. Rockwell Jansen had been noticeably absent from the national stage. His Free USA rallies had stopped, and he'd missed several key Senate votes, raising the ire of the majority leader and reporter Connie Portman.
Speculation was all over the place, and we of course assumed he was sick, but we couldn't get confirmation from his camp. And then, when we heard the announcement, we all assumed his disappearance had been a big publicity stunt leading up to his being named Trump's new running mate.
That announcement was for an event called Make America Open Again, the third such event, but this one was to take place in Oklahoma City, and Rockwell Jansen would be officiating the whole brass band coronavirus-laden event.
It's going to be great, an amazing event. Make America Open Again, we're calling it. Yeah, it's tremendous. People are saying it's going to be the event of the decade, the century maybe even. Rockwell Jansen will be there. We're back. You won't believe how back America is going to be. Very back. Thank you, folks. We'll see you there. We'll see you there, CNN.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the national press social distances their asses off to my turf and fly over USA for the Make America Reopen Again circle jerk. And they built this giant bandstand in Earlywine Park. No one wore masks, of course. Oh, and by the way, we were the pool camera and had the best press position. Most of the footage you see is our camera.
August 30th, 2020, the Make America Open Again event of the decade and/or century in Earlywine Park in the heart of real America, Oklahoma City.
What a day! Yes, what a day to be in Oklahoma.
The sun shone brilliantly, just minutes from smashed storefronts and cornfields unplanted and fallow in the middle of a disastrous crisis in the food supply chain.
I'm telling you, no one can open this country like I can. Forget the closer, I'm the opener. The opener.
It started like any other Trump rally. Everyone on the stage had been tested and no one wore a mask.
They talk about testing and antibodies and PPE. Is this what we want to get hung up on, folks?
They were safe. The packed crowd, however, 20 feet back, was every man for himself.
We'll be making more stuff than anyone could ever use. We'll grow health. Farmers will grow healthy crops.
Trump blathered on as he does. It was hot.
We'll be making massive amounts of things and crops, and the food will be tremendous. Tremendous food.
Everyone just wanted to get the hell out of there.
It's humid here.
I was just wondering where the hell Rockwell was.
Well, it's not as bad as D.C., let me tell you that.
He was our big local story.
It's a total swamp in D.C. But, I drained it. Yeah, I drained the swamp, folks.
After what seemed an eternity, Trump finally remembered that he needed to introduce Senator Jansen.
This man is incredible example of America, Rockwell Jansen. The Rock, I like to call him. I think I made that up, actually. Maybe I heard it somewhere. Anyway, he wants to say a few words about opening up and turning the switch. Flipping the switch. Where are you? Come on up here. Are you out there, Rock? Get on up here. Everyone, Rockwell Jansen, folks.
It was like, finally. Then it got unreal. Really, really unreal.
Senator Rockwell teetered onto the edge of the stage and the edge of history. The next few minutes would shock a nation and hobble a tyrant. On the second and final episode of Enough of You.
Let me speak! Let me speak!
All hell breaks loose as Jansen unleashes a torrent of truths that finally begins the undoing of Trump.
Don't know what that was.
Enough of You was written, directed, and edited by Scott Firestone for the original podcast, Pod Dreams. The role of Donald Trump was played by Zachary Story. John Henry Richardson played Senator Rockwell. Laura Faye Smith played the role of Connie Portman, and the role of the narrator was played by me, Haley Kewen. Enough of You is a work of fiction and a production of Pod Dreams. For more stories of aspiration and wish fulfillment, visit poddreams.com.
All dreams. What is